Welcome to our facility, Jasper Tank. Let's start our facility walkthrough. Your first encounter with us will be in our office. Here you'll be meted by our friendly receptionist, who's currently not here. And then you'll be taken to our salesman where your experience will start. Once the final details are finalized on your tank and the type of tank you're getting, your tank process begins back in our shop. All the parts for your tank will come from our parts department. Here you can see we stock and store many of our parts inside to keep them safe. Everything has been located and lot located so that way everything is easy to find and everything is serialized that has serial numbers. All materials are kept separate from each other so that there's no contamination, and they're clearly marked to ensure that stainless and aluminum are not mixed up. This is one such area that our parts are kept. We'll take you and show you the rest. After your initial conversation with the salesman and the decision on your tank model, design, and features are all decided and approved inside our engineering department. This is where all compliance and engineering happens. Your tank begins at the roll, in the roll department. Here's where we roll our tanks. So we have stands for ovals, we have stands for rounds. All our tanks come in flat steel and they go through this roller to give it its shape. Our heads and baffles are brought in, our frames are tunnels. They lay the sheet out, place all the heads and baffles, pull the shell up like they're at this stage here. Once the welding is completed on the inside, then they'll set the heavy bottom on, which is what they're doing right here. Once the heavy bottom's on and it's welded, they'll do the frame and the cross members. Then they'll flip the tank. And when the tank is flipped, they'll cut a hole for the man weight, go inside, finish the internal welding, come out, do your tunnel ends and your rollover protection. At that stage, the tank here gets its first test. You'll notice here on our tanks that we have these holes that we weld couplers into. The reason we do this is because this overlap of the heavy bottom and the shell creates a void. And same with the flange on the head to the shell creates. So when you pressure this void here, it tests the head and the heavy bottom seam, and we have one on the other side. That's the first test this tank gets. And then all seams, heavy bottom and shell, receive a die pen test. And then from here it moves over to the mount department. In the mount department is where we do the majority of the work. And it's where your cabinet, plumbing, ladders, fenders, bumpers, everything happens. As you can see, we have a tank on the go right now. This is a stainless 406 tank. Each welder is given a job, a production package full of drawings, steps, procedures. All our welders are journeyman welders, and they've all been tested to our weld procedures and our in-house certification. At this stage, when this is completed, what they will do is now they will first test the tank at 3 psi, and then they'll test the tank at 5 psi. They'll remove all the plumbing, weld all the plumbing, and then we bench air test all the plumbing. We air test the plumbing at 15 psi. From that stage, if everything's passed and everything's good, then this tank will move on to the paint department. If this was a round tank, the process is pretty much the same, except we would have to hydro test. So, if we're hydro testing, we have city water supply here, right on this wall. What we'll do is we'll use the city water supply to fill the tank with water, and then we'll apply air over top of the full tank of water. That'll give us our hydro test. After that, we take it outside and drain it, and again, on the paint. So we're going to just bypass the paint department because it's not really relevant to the information we're providing to you. But we are going to head into our final department. This is where a tank comes after paint to be put back together so it can go to work. So when the tank comes in this department, the tank is on a wagon and the truck is separate. We will reinstall the tie downs on the truck. We'll install all the plumbing, electrical, air on the tank. Then we mount the tank. The tank gets fastened down to the chassis tie downs. And when all is completed with this build here, I'll show you what you're looking at. Now that we've reinstalled all this plumbing with all these Vic clamps and all these cam locks and all these valves, we need to ensure that none of this leaks again. So this is where our tanks receive its third inspection. At this point, we'll fill the tank with water, but we'll come in through the discharge and we test to every valve with city pressure water. So 80 psi to this valve for 15 minutes. If the pressure doesn't drop, we know that, and there's no leak, we know that this valve is good. Then we open this valve and we move to the next, and we do every valve in sequence. Then we fill the tank with water. We do that same test on the vent, sorry. Fill the tank with water, we take it outside, and then we do a hydraulic test to test our hydraulics. And then at that stage, this tank's ready to go to work. Moving on to our second video, addressing where our materials are stored. In our first video, we started here in the parts department, and so you've already seen this. But if you follow me, we'll head outside, and I'll show you where the rest of our material is kept. This is where we'll pick up with the rest of our material stored. We keep in stock quite a large quantity of material and parts, so it's hard to keep it all inside our facility. So we have multiple locations outside. Here is our closet, where we store a lot of parts. You can see that everything is very organized, bin located and separated. We have doors. Here we have aluminum and stainless. When we start getting into, like, say, hose drills, heads, valves. All the valves are labeled. All the valves have a count on them. All the heads have a part number. All the heads have a heat number. Same with baffles. Doesn't matter if it's round or oval, mild steel, aluminum, stainless. They're all treated the same way. So they're all separate. They're all kept organized, so it's easy to find. We keep our aluminum inside because we found over time that if aluminum is kept outside, you start to get water stains. So here's where we keep our aluminum plate. In the back here, this wasn't put away yet, but everything's got its paint markings on it. Black for 54, 54. We got blue, more black. We don't stock a lot of different aluminums. It's just too much inventory to hold right now. So here we have all the individual parts for our cabinets. They come cut, lasered, bent, ready to go. We piece them together like Lego. Here we have some more baffles. Here we have some round baffles. More cabinet parts, more stiffeners for cabinets, and then more doors. More stainless, and then all the mild steel kept down here. So to keep it organized, we need multiple spaces. So this is where we'll then move over to our tent, which is also sheltered. Keep the weather off our roof. Here's where we keep our mild steel heads and baffles. Inside under cover, and again, all part numbers and heat numbers written on the parts. All separate, all organized, clearly marked. And we head outside. So here in the middle of the yard, where we keep a lot of our other stuff that's really too big. We have our plate, stainless, it's all color coded. Each one also has its own sign that bin locates it. In the system, it tells you that this location with that bin number is 316. But we also spray paint it just so there's no confusion. Here you'll see this location, this bin will be 304. It's marked pink for 304. But that sign also tells you that this location is 304. Here you'll see back there we have our mild steel. So it's separated. We got purple and green. I'll take you a little closer there. We got our bumpers here. All our bumpers. Our hitches. Here we have different style tank frames, whether this is all stainless, this is all mild steel. It's all kept separate. This is like trailer frame, tank frame, all different lengths, different sizes. Then you have rollover protection, all different sizes. A row for rounds, a row for ovals. It's all separate, it's all signed and bin located. Same with mild steel, the exact same process. Then we have our fenders. So again, stainless and mild steel kept separate. Stainless, all bin located. Mild steel, all bin located, separated, organized, different sizes, flat, bolt on, weld on, sloped, it doesn't matter. This is the overflow for our pipe. Everything is bin located, so you can't mix it up, but just in case, it's also painted, so that way you know you're getting the right material. And we're gonna go that way. So the live areas for pipe and flat bar and angle and square tubing that we use on a regular basis is all kept on smaller pipe wrap near the manufacturing door. That was our overflow for that kind of stuff. And here's the working racks. You see, each rung is labeled with a decal. That decal is the bin location, explaining what thickness, what size, what material is located on this rack. And just for an extra precaution, at this end, it's all painted with yellow to designate that it's aluminum. Then we can move here. So again, this one has a 3-step process. On top of the rack, it has a sign that tells you that this is only 316. But it's also painted to signify 316. And it also has all the decals, so that during inventory and placement of parts that are ordered, you know that only 316 goes in this location, because that's where it signifies that in our inventory. And again, there's more steel and square tubing and flat bars. Everything's separate. 304, labeled 304. Painted 304. Been located 304. And that's our outside. Okay, so you've seen our parts department. You've seen our outside overflow of large parts. During the process of rolling, we need a few extra parts. You'll see that they're all labeled with a location. We have them separated. This whole rack is like cross members and tunnel ends, outriggers for aluminum. If you go over here, you'll see it's covered by the screens to protect it. This is all stainless. Again, pin located, part numbers, everything is engraved so that you ensure when you get your pick list that you're picking the right part. And then at the end, over here, in that corner, on that shelf, is the mild steel. And that'll conclude our walkthrough of our material stores. Here's our third video addressing the welding control. As you can see here, their book of weld procedures. They're here readily available for all employees and welders anytime. Plus they all are familiarized with it when they do their weld test when we certify them here. Here's a list of welders and their welder symbols that are qualified here at Jasper Tank. Also here, when you head into the welding department, you'll see that another list of qualified welders with welding symbols is here. This is updated whenever a new welder is brought on into employment here at Jasper Tank, and it's posted here so anyone can figure out what their symbol is in case they forget. Moving on to welding consumables and gases. So gases are kept at each machine when in use. You see, they're all clearly marked what they are. And then there is our main tank storage, storage over here to storage. Right here. It's kept here, we have fulls and we have empty cylinders, clearly marked. Here we have C8, C2, argon, C25, oxygen, whatever you want. We have it all. When we do our in-house certification, each welder is given coupons for each material. They're given the weld procedures, and they weld those coupons based on that procedure. Then what we do is called the bend test. We use this machine here. We have different sizes. This is mild steel and stainless, and this is aluminum. As they do their tests, you'll end up with coupons that look like this. Here. All the positions, 2G, 3G, root, face, 4G, up, down, all that good stuff. All different materials, all initialed with the welder then assigned to their number and kept. Here we are back at parts where we keep the rest of our welding consumables. You can see that we have gas lenses, shields, glass cups, we have tapered tips, plasma, radiograph, lenses, everything you need here for your whip or your for your gun. Nozzles, lenses, everything. We have liners, all kept for the guns, brushes for aluminum and stainless before you weld. We have discs and chalk and more nozzles and everything you can think of. Everything is clearly labeled, so you can't mix it up, and you know what size and what gun it all goes to. And then out here, and this is where we keep wire. We don't weld with stick. I know we have some stick here, but it never gets used. We weld with our wire. Here's all our rod for TIG. It's all kept inside in a nice dry area. That'll conclude the welding control. Here we are with our document record retention. So up front in the office, this is all recent job files. Service and production for all repair and manufacture dating back to 2018. They're kept here, and once these cabinets reach the end of their life cycle, these files will get moved to our vault, we could call it. Here we are in our vault, so I can show you the rest of our record retention. So back here, upstairs in the facility, we have a few rows here. This is all accounting, it doesn't matter. If you come back here, you're going to see rows and rows and rows. It labels all the job numbers from what number to what number, and they're all kept over and over and over. And they just keep going. Boxes, boxes of job files. More job files. Back there. And that's the conclusion of our document retention. Here's the last part of this video. This one touches on markings. Because we're not only a tank manufacturer but a trailer manufacturer, each section of this unit has its own certification and guidelines. You'll see that the trailer gets its foil sticker here. It's compliance. Each trailer has to get one when it's manufactured. Similarly with the tank, it gets a data plate. The data plates give you all the information you require. The data plate should preferably be mounted on the driver's side of the unit. It must be mounted to the tank somewhere, and it must be visible. When you do a tank manufacture or repair, each tank will have an inspection. That inspection requires not only paperwork, but identification marks stating which inspection. When you apply the stickers, you need to make sure that you start with your month, your year, the type of inspection you've done, and your facility code. They are always on the driver's side, and they're always on the front corner of the tank. And that'll conclude markings.